podcast time. Hello.
Welcome to the Tough Luck podcast with Lily
and Megan.
Woohoo.
Nice
Cheers.
to see you again.
Me and Megan haven't seen each other in a while. We just had so much to catch up on this morning. Oh my goodness. It's been so long, it feels like.
It has
We've been busy. Yeah, it's been busy. And we were actually talking about this. I wanted to bring this up for the podcast. Like wintertime's hibernation time. And in the month of February, one of my jobs, I wasn't working. We were just closed down for the whole month, and I was doing a lot of art, a lot of sleeping, a lot of cooking, a lot of self-care and stuff for the month of February. And then March kind of happened, and March was kind of just boom, and the birds are out, nature's waking up, people are waking up, people are getting out and about, and it's just have you felt this energy shift? It's just everyone's just we're ready. If the sun's staying out late, and everyone just feels they're vibrating,
Right.
And it's exciting. It is.
Yeah.
Springtime, new energy, everyone's hustling and bustling.
Yeah.
And it's exciting, but it's also, it was kind of a shock factor for me, almost.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, just going from this really, sacred hibernation time for me to everyone just being boom! Just needing my attention and my energy all the time. I don't know. Feels like I'm just, running.
She's running so much.
I just spilled my tea all over me. I'm okay.
We're good.
We're okay.
Do you want a little towel or something?
I'm gonna go grab a towel.
Yeah. So everybody who is on the other side here, burning both candles at both ends, just take some time to rest, recuperate.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Maybe even, and this may be something you can take as well. Maybe, I don't know if you have time because you have such a busy life, but even an evening restorative practice or taking just some you time, and you did that this morning.
Yeah, I took a bath this morning before our podcast. Just because all my days have just been filled up, so I feel every time I just get a second by myself, I'm I need a bath. Get me in the bathtub. I need Epsom salt. I need bubbles. I need candles. So just that energy feels good, and loving people and being in energy always feels good. But it's important to come back to yourself and just take care of yourself, so that you can then again show up in the best version of yourself. It's a balance, and it's a lot, and it's hard, especially when there's just so much to do already. It's March and there's so much to do already. It's crazy. This summer, I feel is just gonna be insane, but that's okay.
I know.
It's okay.
It's gonna be a kick for sure.
Yeah, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I feel that actually goes into what we were thinking about talking about today in regards to how you can manifest your dream life in a way by following the seasons of life, by following the
absolutely
the moon.
Yeah, we're in springtime. Right now is the season to be vibrating, and it is the season to be making connections, and it is the season to be talking to people, because it's the time to plant those seeds and start not necessarily going in hard at all those goals and stuff that you want to manifest, but just putting little bits and pieces, little sprinkles of intentions, and then summer's gonna build us up into that more.
It'll be full force, right?
Full force in summer, but right now it's springtime, so make your connections.
Yeah.
Plant your seeds, tend your garden.
Beautiful.
Water it, take care of it,
and then by fall, you'll have a harvest.
Exactly, you'll be basking in all of your everything you made.
Anything that you don't use, unfortunately, dies, because that's how life works. And
right.
The cycle of
life. And that's just going to compost and turn into something for the next growing season.
Yeah.
So
wintertime, we spend indoors mostly, and a lot of animals hibernate as well, and they gain a ton of weight so that when it's time for spring again, they have the ability to survive,
right,
in case something were to happen there. So yeah, it's the cycle of nature, and and that's actually something that helps us with manifestation.
Absolutely.
We often have this understanding of, oh, if I work towards my goals, I'll get there. But if you have a little bit more of a plan in terms of, okay, during this season of time, this is the best time that I can manifest my dreams.
Right.
And we started in the winter we started actually in the fall. The fall time is when we initially talked about starting this business.
When we started planning
it,
yeah.
Getting into the basically we just kind of had the idea, okay, this is what we want to do, and we didn't know how we would do it. Then
we were talking about it, like, we had a lot of death at that time too, like a lot of like things were falling apart for us, a lot of things were finishing, ending, and then like in the middle of all of that, like crashing and burning, we're like, we want to do this. We want to do this one little thing.
Yeah.
And we're just like trying to pull that out of all those ashes, you know? We're like, we can do this.
Like, yeah,
and here we are, you know?
Going.
And like we're about to, you know, put this out there in I feel like the beginning of growing season, you know? And we're going to put this out there, and it's going to grow with summer, I think.
And it's after the eclipse, the solar eclipse in...
Exactly.
I think I didn't plan this, but...
We didn't.
You and I didn't. Did you know there was an eclipse?
Well, I knew there was an eclipse, but we didn't, like, schedule it based around it. We were just like, I think this will be a good time for us. And then we're like, oh, there's also an eclipse.
There's an eclipse happening.
Yeah.
So... You're not supposed to... I do know that on the day of the eclipse, and actually during eclipse season, you're not supposed to start new things because that's when chaos is happening. And it's funny, we picked like a few days after the eclipse to launch our podcast. Or our
But I feel like we
business.
also like almost thrive in that chaos too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we do good in chaos.
Oh no, it won't be chaotic by that point because it'll be after the eclipse happened. Like, so the lunar eclipse is happening on, I think it's, if I remember, it's like the 25th of this month. And it's a lunar eclipse. We won't see it because it's on the other side of the world. And the solar eclipse, and we're actually kind of close to where that's happening.
We are.
We'll see it perfectly. But basically, the solar eclipse is happening on our side of the world, and it's on April 8th. I do know that.
Beautiful.
And it's something, it's on a Monday. And so basically those two events happening, you don't want to be doing too much because it's one of those days where actually in nature this happens. So spiders will destroy their webs because they know the eclipse. I mean, I don't know if this is scientific fact. I do know the spiders taking down their webs during the eclipse is true, but I don't really know the reason why. But I would imagine that it's because there's so much destruction during eclipses.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it'd be unwise to start anew during the chaos of what nature is doing.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
But you know, like that destruction is necessary.
Yeah.
You know? And we might hit some challenges and we might hit some roadblocks then.
Yeah.
But it's just like knowing and being prepared, I feel like, is all we can do. You know, instead of just like if we're hitting like a roadblock in that time of our life with this or whatever, we can be like, okay, it's the eclipse.
Yeah, you know, you don't blame yourself.
Exactly. We can be like, okay, well, like this is really hard for us right now, but not only is it going to be really hard for us right now, but everyone else around us has also experienced the chaos of the eclipse too.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to other people during that time, they're also going to be going through some bullshit, you know? Like we're all going to be going through it. And like like, I feel like everybody makes fun of, like, astrology babes who are just like, oh, it's the eclipse or it's Mercury retrograde, that's why I'm going, like, AY or whatever. But we all are.
Mm-hmm.
We all are, whether you know it or not.
Just wait.
Just, like, literally. And it's just, like, yeah, like, every time, like, the eclipse or something happens or Mercury retrograde, like, my dad always told me he never believed in astrology, right? He said he, like, refused to believe in it, even if I read his charts and stuff. And then he was like, I finally decided that I believed in astrology when, like, every time Mercury retrograde happened, something would break. Something in his life. Because my dad runs 2 restaurants, right? Nice. And he has a lot of, like, astrology babes at his restaurants, you know, being like, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. Something breaks. Every single time. Wow. Something doesn't work. The computers don't work. Something. And he was like, that's when I finally started to believe in astrology. And I told Megan, like, I read his chart the other day to him. And he was like, holy shit, like, that resonates really well.
That's beautiful.
That's
great that he's kind of feeling...
It's just, I feel like...
It's a way of feeling heard.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like astrology is really, like, a lot of noticing, too. You know, like it's noticing the stars and stuff, and it's noticing what's going on out there, but it's also just noticing how that one is affecting you, and then all the other people around you, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're feeling that, just knowing that almost everyone else is probably also, like, feeling that same kind of energy.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, the moon phases and stuff, too. Like, we're all feeling the moon all the time. And I know friends who are, like, school teachers who are like, oh my gosh, it's the full moon. Like, my kids are gonna be crazy this week, you know? And, like, these are, like, Christian teachers, like, who work at Christian schools, and they don't follow astrology, and they don't study any of that, but they're like, it's the full moon, my kids are gonna be crazy, you know?
So maybe they're
we all feel it,
feeling their intuition, talking a little bit there, it sounds like, and that's no shame, because not everybody has to believe the same thing. I think this world was meant to be filled with different beliefs, different
and diverse,
religions,
for sure.
And that's something else. As long as you're not here to shame others, I think you're fine. But I find it so beautiful that we're starting to align a little bit more with what nature's plan is, and the cycles of the stars and of the moon, and thinking about that a little bit and planning ahead. There's actually a lunar cycle that happens as well. It's this beautiful... It's somewhat to do with the women's menstrual cycle, I guess you could say, but it's also can help men as well with their planning. So if you have a full moon, this is a beautiful time to ask yourself, okay, what is something that I could take out of my life that would help me? And sometimes you know, you don't have a whole lot. You might not need to get rid of all these belongings or all these friends, for example, like you definitely,
but maybe it's like a habit or an attitude, or like just maybe a repeated thought that you're having, that you're like, I just need to stop thinking about this one thing, you know, because full moon, she hits her peak and she's full and she has everything she needs, and then she's just like, okay, now what do I need to let go of, you know, because that's her next phase that she's going into. Like, full moon hits her peak and then she's releasing, you know, she's waning. So what can we let go of? And like you said, we don't need to purge our whole place, you know, you don't need to purge everything in your life, but just like just taking that time at that full moon and being like, okay, now that I'm full, what do I no longer need? What's not serving me, you know? What can I release? Because it is that, like, growing season over and over and over again, because then we get new, and that's that seed, and that's that intention building, and then you're growing with the moon, and just over and over and over again.
It's that beautiful cyclical nature right there.
And, like, you know, the moon affects the tides, and I've always heard, like, you know, we're 70% water. Like, how is the moon...
Oh, my goodness.
Like, of course the moon is affecting us in some way, you know? Like, we're an emotional body, and we're made of water or liquid, you know? And, I think the moon definitely touches us, so...
I think so, and And apparently a lot of animals are affected by that. I know that there's a lot more accidents during full moons. There's especially the deer I've seen too. They kind of do act a little bit more on the crazy side. Humans too, though. I mean, they say don't drive on a full moon too much if you can avoid it, especially an eclipse, because that is even more intense. That's a full moon and the sun blocking it and then coming on back. So and then perfect alignment. So the energy is going to be nuts during that time. But it's definitely something that if you apply to your life, if you apply these different strategies and aligning yourself with nature, you can manifest quite a bit in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think manifestation, yes, we can try and align our manifestations with the moon or nature or all the things. But I think the real, the only way manifestation has ever really worked with me, and it is more powerful when I do align it with nature and stuff, but it's when I'm coming from a place of gratitude.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, every time I've, manifested something that's come to me in, the most beautiful of ways, you know, just the most beautiful blessings, it's when I just sit down and I write every single thing that I'm grateful for. And then after that, I'm like, okay, but this is what I really want right now, you know? So
your cup is already full.
Exactly, yeah.
But you can ask for a little bit more.
Yeah, how can you receive when you're not already grateful for what you have? You literally can't. The universe isn't going to grant you with any blessings if you're just sitting there in angst, you know? I need more or whatever.
Yeah.
The last time I went out and manifested, and this is how I kind of did it with connecting with nature, and it was on Imbolc, which is February 1st, and that's when we, that's a pagan holiday where it's a seed planting kind of time, and I wrote down everything I was grateful for first, and then I wrote everything that I wanted for this growing season, and I went outside in the glen and I planted it in the earth with some seeds.
Did you really?
Yes, I did, because I planted it with just some different wildflower seeds and stuff, because that's not only me writing down all my gratitude, but also I feel giving something to the earth, you know, if we give to Mother, she gives to us, you know. That was the kind of my intention
that
behind
so
all
beautiful.
of that. Yeah.
I'm so it just hit me.
Yeah, I feel you know, we have to give and we have to show her what we're grateful for all the time. And then when you're in that constant vibration of gratitude, blessings just come your way, you know?
That is so true. My gosh.
Yeah.
How beautiful. That sounded like a beautiful time you went out into the woods.
Yeah, it was. It was really special.
Did you find that those things are planting a little bit? Oh yeah?
I think so.
They're coming. Well, that's good.
I think so.
Maybe.
I think good things are coming my way.
That's great. Okay, we won't get into that. But we'll anyway. But yeah, so there is a time I did something similar. It wasn't exactly what you did. I had a bonfire with a couple of friends, and we went to. This was actually you and I weren't as close back then, but this I was in yoga teacher training with you, but you and I were not we didn't have this kind of bond that we have right now. It was somewhat towards the winter times, where but anyway. Now we definitely have a closer relationship. But it was during this time where I had these very specific things that I was wanting. For example, I wanted to be a yoga teacher. There was definitely parts of me that wanted to have a better relationship with maybe my family, and and my friends as well, like inviting, I even wrote down, I think I did put new friends, and it's funny that now we're friends.
And now here we are, you're sitting on my couch.
Beautiful friend.
Yeah.
And I'm never giving up. You're my forever friend. And so I did put that down because I think back then I was struggling with friendship, and not to say it was like, I definitely had my friends, and I have one in particular who is my best friend, but it was one of those things where I felt so alone because of some things I was dealing with on the inside, and it wasn't the fact that I didn't have friends, it was the fact that I wasn't a friend to myself. I would never have known that, and until I became a friend with myself through yoga teacher training. And during that time with other things happening, I grew to love that Megan inside.
Absolutely.
And so because I loved myself, and going back to your gratitude piece, I then had the capacity to hold space for you and hold space for my other friends, which attracts more people in your life. So. Yeah,
like we can only love other people to the extent in which we can love ourselves, right?
That's true.
Like, once you found that gratitude for Megan, like, I fucking found it too, you know?
I think you did grow during that time too, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, divine.
And you've grown since too.
Absolutely. Well, we're all
growing all the
time. We should all be growing all the time, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're always... Yes, definitely.
But that's beautiful, and I'm glad that you, like, made a friend with yourself, because we are definitely our best friends, and we should be, you know? We should be there for ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of us don't treat ourselves very well, so it's if you give that to yourself, taking a bath, like doing those little gestures.
Because when you, like, fill up your cup and you, like, date yourself and you make yourself feel good, then that love is gonna just, like, radiate out to everyone else, you know? If you, like, in the core, in your very center, like, just feel so content with yourself, like, that's gonna just radiate to everyone else. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Literally.
Wow.
Well, do we end it here, Megan?
I think so.
Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.